Today we're going to be talking about the input class, and input class is one of the most common classes in Unity, and the input class allows the user to interact with their game, and allow like the user to press the arrow key and move their character around, or use the mouse, and then look or change the camera, the orientation. And if you guys want to learn more about the input class after this lesson, you guys can always look up the input class API online. So hopefully you guys have this empty project like I do. And right now, if you guys can right click in the hierarchy window where the menu showed up, and create like a cube or capsule or anything you want. If you guys ever need help or fall behind, just raise your hand. We'll have one of our mentors come. And once you guys have your cube, at the bottom in this assets folder where my mouse is, just right click, create, and then C# script, and just call it whatever you want, or you can just call it input. And once you guys create that script, double click on it. Okay, so you guys should have this empty program for C#, and then just a quick review from the C# lesson. This update function over here, which is defaultly placed into your program, as you can see in the comment, it's called once per frame. So this update function continuously checks for keeps running that piece of code. So what we can do is, one of the methods of the input class that allows you to press keys is get key. So if you type input to access the input class, and then get key, you'll see that you have a function. But this function takes in a parameter. As you can see, it takes in a key code right there. So if we put a
Margaret Chavez, please come to the main office. Margaret Chavez, please come to the main office.
So you guys can also type key code and then dot, and then this list contains all the letters that you can type from the keyboard. So if you guys can just pick one, like suppose escape or A or 1, anything you guys want. And then if you just have this is just a statement, so nothing's actually going to happen. But you guys can print this out in the debug console by placing this in a print statement. And then make sure you guys save, Control S, and then go back to Unity. But before you guys run it, you have to attach this script into your cube. And this is done by simply dragging on the script and placing it on the cube here. And then as you can see, at the bottom of the cube's inspector, it shows your script. So just drag and drop it on. And now when you run it, press your escape key, and then you'll see momentarily, wait, that's a little hard to see. Since you put it in the update function, your console will continuously be saying false, because as you know, this returns either true or false, which is a Boolean statement. So since we're not pressing your key, it's just going to keep printing false. But then when you click the button itself, it'll say true momentarily, but it's probably too fast to see it. If you guys want to clearly see that your key is being pressed, you should use an if statement. If statements, for a parameter of if statements, they take in a Boolean. So if you do 5 greater than, oops, sorry, 5 greater than 1, this if statement would run whatever I put here. So if we put get key, which returns a true or false statement, we can simply just copy this. I'll just delete this one. and then we can say print true, and then save your program, and then once you run it, now when you click your button, it says true. But then you'll see that when you click your button, several statements saying true appears. And this is because Unity senses when you're holding down the button compared to just pressing it once. Some other get key methods, there's some modifications to the get key, which include get key up and get key down. Basically, up, when you do get key up, that senses when you release the key, the exact moment you release the key, and get key down is the exact moment you press it down. If you use get key down and you press your key, you'll probably only see one statement being printed out. You guys can experiment this on your own. The next method we're going to look at from the input class is get mouse button. Get mouse button is pretty explanatory for itself. It just either senses when you left click, right click, or use the middle mouse button. The parameters for get mouse button include 0, 1, and 2. 0 would be a left click, 1 would be a right click, and 2 would be a middle mouse button. So if we put in 0 here, and then save your program, then go back to Unity, and when you run it, when you click on the screen anywhere, you'll see true got printed out. And if you guys selected 1 as your parameter, and you right click, true should be printed out, or whatever you guys chose to print out. Next, we're going to look at another really common method used for the input class, which is get access. Get access can be a little confusing to understand, and get access takes in an access string. So this access string could be a variety of different strings, and you can find them if you go to Edit, Project Settings, and Edit's on the toolbar at the very top. Project Settings, and then you go to Input, and then Axes, just click on that, and all of these lists you see here, like Fire 1, Mouse X, or Vertical, you guys can put that as a string into the get access method, and I'll show you how you do that. So if you get onto Visual Studio, and then when you put in your parameter for get access, you can supposedly do vertical. One sec. Oh, input.getAccess doesn't return a boolean, so you can't put it in an if statement like I did here. This returns an access value, which is kind of complicated to understand, but you guys can see what it actually prints out, what it actually returns if I run it. So just remove the if statement and instead surround it in the print. And then when you run it back in Unity, one sec. Oh, don't forget your semicolons. So right now 0 is being printed because we are not doing anything. But if we try clicking, suppose, the right or left arrow keys, the up and down arrow keys, you'll see some access values are printed out. This can be kind of confusing to grasp, but as you guys experiment more, you'll learn how to actually use these methods. Get access automatically implements the arrow keys and WASD keys, so you don't have to manually say get key left, get key W. This can also be done with get access and using the mouse position. Instead, if you say mouse x, this will return the axis of the mouse from the x-axis. So if we run this while putting mouse x as a parameter here, you'll see when you move your mouse, the values change. And get axis usually returns a value from 0 to 1 or -1 to 0. You'll see as you move your mouse around, the values here change. Okay, that pretty much sums up the input class. As I said earlier, you guys should definitely check out the APIs for the input class and learn how to implement more methods. And you can just find this on Google by searching up Unity Input Class API. And experiment that for yourselves at home. Okay, now we're going to be talking about vectors.